Good morning. Welcome to my thought for the day. I'm looking today at the first few verses of chapter 7 of Luke's Gospel. This is Luke's account of the healing of the centurion's slave or servant. This took place in Capernaum, which was that lakeside town, the ruins of which still stand there. I've been to Capernaum, and I have stood in the ruins of the synagogue, which is the synagogue that this centurion helped to build. And you feel as if you've really touched the historical Jesus when you go to a place like that. And he understood the rules of the world in which he lived. He was a centurion, he was a Roman. He was obviously had very good relationships with the leaders of the town of Capernaum. He had supported them and contributed to the building of their synagogue. He was not an enemy. And it's quite important to realize from stories like this that the impression that we get that all Jews hated all Romans was not actually true, and that all Romans were cruel to all Jews was not true, and that Romans treated their slaves abominably and were cruel masters, that wasn't true. This centurion had a slave who was sick, and he wanted him healed. He wanted to bring help to him. And he sent the elders to Jesus, knowing that as a centurion, as a Roman, it wouldn't be right for him to approach Jesus, being a Gentile, and it wouldn't be right for Jesus to come into his house because he was a Gentile. But he understood, and it's the principle here, he understood the principle of authority. In the Roman world in which he lived, he was the authority for all the men and all the servants and slaves within his household. He was the final authority. If he said jump, they jumped. I do think that in a lot of ways our modern society has lost an understanding of authority. Authority used in the right way is very beneficial. There is in the way that God put this world together a hierarchical authority system that is blessed by God. And fighting it and trying to do things our own way is not beneficial to us. That's a thought for the day. But this man, he had authority. He understood authority, and he knew that Jesus had authority. He knew that Jesus had authority, and so he said to Jesus, "Will you use your authority, your power, to heal my servant? I can command. I command my servants, and they do. I send orders, and they do it. I have orders from Rome. I obey them. You have authority. Will you use your authority to heal my servant?" And Jesus did. And this centurion understood that when you have authority, all you have to do is speak the words, and those who are being addressed by you as authority must obey. He understood that Jesus had authority. And this is something for us to ponder. You know, Jesus said to his disciples at the end of his life, at the end of Matthew, "All authority and power has been given unto me." They're very familiar words. It's Matthew 28. Jesus said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me." And then he delegated that authority to his disciples. "Go therefore." He spoke the word, "Go therefore and make disciples of all nations." This was the authority he had. His authority, his words were authority. And so they were for this centurion. He understood that Jesus had just to say the word. And this is something we should really take on board. that when God says to us something to us, that's the final word. It's not for us to say, yes, but I can't do it at the moment. I've got this, that, or the other that has to be done first. We quite often listen to Andrew Womack, whether you like Andrew Womack or not. It's quite interesting that he talks a lot about the authority of the Word of God, and the fact that when Jesus tells us to do something, we should do it. And he said, I quite often get people who come to meetings and they say, the Lord has told me to come to Bible college, but I can't afford it, or but I've got a business to run, or but I've got family commitments. And they'll ask him for his opinion. He'll say to them, I lost you when you said but. Because to Andrew Womack, if God tells him to do something, he does it. Whether he's got the resources to do it or not, he simply gets on with it and does it. Because he's been told to. The authority, the word of authority has been given. And this is something really we need to think about, that when we know the Lord has told us something, we should not even think about how it would work out in practice. We simply do it because the word has been given. The authority word is enough. The centurion said, I tell this man to do this, and he does it. I mean, what would it have been like for him if he said to his next in command, take those men out and do an exercise, run up to the top of the hill carrying all your equipment and then come back down again as a training exercise. And if his next said, well, I'm sorry, sir, they haven't had breakfast yet, what would that be saying about the authority that the Roman had? No, they jumped to it. If he said, go and do this, they did it. They didn't say, yes, but I need to get my shoe repaired before I can do it, or whatever. Authority. This is authority. And we need to move away from our modern day thinking, which says every one of us has the right to make the decision about this, that, and the other. But if we are servants of the Lord, when he says jump, we jump. It's quite a thought, isn't it? It's quite a thought. What is your attitude to authority? What is your attitude to the authority in your life? Is there anyone to whom you acknowledge authority over you? If you've taken Jesus as Lord, he is the authority, not you. He is the authority. That's enough from me for today. Set you thinking, hey, gosh, and I hope it blesses you and moves you on in your walk with the Lord as you think about and ponder this story of this centurion. Read it again and think. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Bye.